From Neural Newscast, this is Deep Dive, exploring the moments that shape today.
Hello, and welcome to Deep Dive. I am Daniel Brooks.
And I'm Vanessa Calderon. It is March 26th, and today we're looking at a moment when the world held its breath as two longtime enemies sat down at a table in Washington to change the course of history.
On this day in 1979, the White House lawn was the setting for the signing of the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty. It was a monumental achievement, especially when you consider that these two nations had been in a state of war for 30 years. President Anwar Sadat of Egypt and Prime Minister Menachem of Israel essentially redrew the map of Middle Eastern diplomacy with a single pen stroke.
Right. It was basically the ultimate high-stakes co-op mission, Daniel. But it didn't just happen overnight. This was the payoff of the Camp David Accords from the previous year, which President Jimmy Carter spent weeks brokering in Maryland. Before that, Sadat had actually traveled to Jerusalem to speak to the Israeli parliament. For an Arab leader at that time, that was a massive, controversial flex.
Controversial is an understatement. While the treaty established diplomatic and commercial ties, the reaction across the rest of the Arab world was fierce. Egypt was actually suspended from the Arab League. From an urban policy perspective, the treaty was meant to transition the region from a war footing to one of infrastructure and trade, but the human cost was high. Sadat was eventually assassinated in 1981 by extremists who were outraged by the peace process.
Absolutely. It is wild because even though Sadat paid the ultimate price, the peace held. They both got the Nobel Peace Prize for it, and formal relations were established in 1982. It's like they unlocked a permanent peace achievement that actually stayed active even after one of the main players was gone. It really changed the meta for regional politics forever.
Moving from the infrastructure of peace to the leaders who shape our institutions, we have some heavy-hitting birthdays today, starting in 1930 with Sandra Day O'Connor. Vanessa, she was a true pioneer in the American legal system.
Exactly. She was the first woman ever to serve on the United States Supreme Court. Appointed by Ronald Reagan in 1981, she was the moderate middle for 24 years. She wasn't just there to fill a seat. She was the swing vote on some of the biggest cases in modern history.
She really was the pragmatic voice of the court. Her influence on American law can't be overstated. And while she was navigating the halls of the Supreme Court, a future tech giant was being born in 1973. I'm talking about Larry Page.
Yeah, talk about a legacy. Larry Page co-founded Google with Sergey Brin while they were still PhD students at Stanford. I mean, think about how much Googling we do every day. He served as CEO of Google and then Alphabet, and he basically redefined how the entire world accesses information. That's a serious level up for humanity.
It's hard to imagine the digital landscape without his influence. But before search engines, we had the world-class voice of Diana Ross, who was born on this day in 1944. She represents a different kind of cultural infrastructure, the Motown sound.
Truly, Diana Ross is pure legend, Daniel. She was the lead for the Supremes, making them one of the best-selling female groups of all time. Then she goes solo and just keeps winning. She's an icon of both music and film. If there was a Hall of Fame for sheer star power, she'd be at the very top.
From music and tech to the physical safety of our cities, our fact of the day takes us back to 1872. This was the year Thomas J. Martin, an African-American inventor, was granted a patent for an improved fire extinguisher.
That's remarkable. Before this, fire extinguishers were pretty primitive, but Martin's design, patent number 125,063, was a game changer. What made his version so special?
It was all about the distribution system, Vanessa. Martin designed a way to use a system of pipes and valves to deliver water for fire suppression inside buildings. It wasn't just a handheld device. It was the conceptual foundation for the modern fire protection systems we see in every office building today. It made urban living significantly safer as cities were becoming more dense.
Definitely. And the crazy part is he was only 30 when he died later that same year. He didn't get to see his invention become the standard. But every time you see a sprinkler head or a fire valve in a hallway, that's part of his legacy. He literally built the safety protocols into the architecture.
Whether it's the architecture of safety, the structure of our laws, or the treaties that bring nations together, March 26th has been a day for building a more stable world.
It really has been a day of high-impact moves. Thanks for joining us for this journey through history. You can find more of our stories at deepdive.narrownewscast.com. I'm Vanessa Calderon.
And I am Daniel Brooks. Deep Dive is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. Explore history every day on Neural Newscast.
This has been Deep Dive on Neural Newscast, exploring the moments that shape today.